Shalom, shalom, Akim out there. Alright, back at you with another lesson. So, I just remember this here movie around around 1977. We're gonna get into some of this, Lord willing. And what was curious about this, The Prince and the Pauper movie, 1977. Read some of this synopsis. But before we start, we're gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem Harakapadash, giving double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutes to all the sincere elect out there. So, was this based on a true story? So, the synopsis of the Prince and the Pauper movie, I found it interesting growing up, and I was always curious as to. They showed it every year, usually around that holiday season, along with certain other things like Oliver Twist and the other one they always used to show. The that stupid other one, Follow the Yellow Brick Road. The Wizard of Oz. You know, all them stupid little shows that they always used to show them, but I was always curious about this one here. The Tom Canty is a poor English boy who bears a remarkable resemblance to Edward, Prince of Wales, son of King Henry VIII. The two boys met and decided to play a joke on the court by dressing in each other's clothes, but the plan goes wrong when they are separated and each must live the other's life. So, The Prince and the Pauper, that sound, it just rings a bell. Just the title itself rings a bell. The Prince and the Pauper. And I always thought about this as, you know, Jacob and Esau, right? Because these were two twin brothers as well. Right? As a matter of fact, let me hit the precepts. The resemblance to Genesis 25 and 24 says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Right, so this is two twins here that decided to play a prank that went wrong, right? And I was always curious about this, right? There's books on it, right? There's all kinds of movies based on it, all different types of. We look into a little bit. I'm not going to get all deep into it, but just there's other versions as well. Mark Twain's classic story included the Barbie version, Mickey Mouse cartoon, Mark Twain version, 1990, the 1933 Errol Flynn movie, and the TV one with Nicholas Landhurst, 1976. Right, the silliest one and the most enjoyable, I'm talking about that one there now. The silliest one is the 1977 version, known as Crosswords, when it was released in the US, directed by Fantastic Voyager, Richard Fleischer. Anyway, that's enough of that, but there's all kinds of versions based on it. Now, the version I'm concentrating on is in the Bible, and I believe they did get it from the Bible, but when you check up certain things, right there, was it based on a true story? All right, Prince and the Pauper, was it based on a true story? The Prince and the Pauper is not based on a true story. It is a work of fiction written by Mark Twain that addresses class differences with humor and insight. Yeah, it's stupidly funny. What is the summary of the story? The Prince and the Pauper. A poor boy named Tom accidentally switches places with Prince Edward, right? And it was very convincing, right? The prince really was that posh kind of prince, stiff upper lip, toffee nose prince, and the pauper played it off as he was poor, living in on the streets, having to, what they're in the movie. Oliver Twist, the young boy, had to steal to survive. Pickpocket, go and steal and pickpocket via his handler. When you get into the movie, his handler, and he had to steal and survive on the streets and bring money to the earnings to his handler, Oliver and Twist. And he was, he was an innocent kid, but he was surviving on the street. He was poor. Similar here with with the um the poor boy named Tom. All right, switches places with Edward, and he had to live that life. He had to pull it off. He got the royal red carpet. He got all the crown jewel treatment. When you get into the movie, it's one of them kind of funny movies, classical. I probably won't be able to watch all of it now. We're so used to all the fast fictional and special effects now. But then it was more about stories, lines, and morals of the story. Anyway, is The Prince and the Pauper a true story? It's a fictional story of how Edward the Sixth, Edward the Sixth, and a poor beggar boy changes places as prince and beggar. Places as prince. Here you go. It's just a turning of the tide, a switching of the what they call it, a paradigm switch, paradigm shift. And this is what's happening today, right? I was just the scriptures. I'm going to get into some scriptures. Is The Prince and the Pauper fiction or non-fiction? The Prince and the Pauper, published in 1988, 81. Slovakia. Published in 1881, is Mark Twain's first foray onto historical fiction set in the 16th century England, and novel explores themes of social inadequacies and mistaken identity through the story of two identical boys from vastly different backgrounds who switches places. The scriptures has come to my mind. But first, the first one is Genesis 25, based on the two twins. And when her 24. And when her 2 days be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, because they were fighting in the womb. Actually, let me read 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from the bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. There was all the struggling. In 22, the children were struggling together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And then it was explained. I just read that, 23 and 24. Right, so you got 2 nations in the stomach. They're fighting, and it's twins, and they're fighting for supremacy. back to the movie, back to the principle or the moral of the story in the movie. Ecclesiastes, because this all goes back, and I wonder if this dude here, the writer, Mark Twain's the writer, got it from the scriptures. I believe he did. Ecclesiastes 10 and 6 says, folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. Right, that's what happened. But it went horribly awry. It went wrong. Right, when they swapped places. Right, Tom started to enjoy the wealth and the riches and all the crown jewels. He put on all the royal attire. He lived the life. He got all the red carpet treatment. And the rich, I think there's so many other different types of versions. The prince, he actually became treated really badly, man. He was locked away. I think he got locked away for something. I think they even put a mask on him or something like that. But it was a long time I saw that movie. Well, it went horribly wrong for the prince. So doesn't that remind you of something? I have seen servants upon horses, it reminds me of something, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Yep. Who are the princes today? The princes are Yashua Allah. Right? Been doing videos on it, how we're above all these people. We're the real royalty, the real monarch, if you want to put it like that, the monarchy. And all the things that these base men be doing, right? Because they're really base men in royal attire, right? Similar to this movie, right? How the poor boy put on the royal attire, and the rich boy went into oblivion, went into low life standards. I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Went into an earthly, lowly state. The prince. He went into an earthly, lowly state. All right, Prince Edward, according to this movie, went into an earthly, lowly state, walking upon the ground, and the poor boy, the pauper, the pauper. What is the summary of the story? Prince and the pauper. The poor boy named Tom. Accidentally, Tom became rich. He was from rags to riches for him. All right, the pauper. So that's the story. That's the moral of the story. And he lived that life. He went into the prince went into a low case of living, earthly living on the ground, on the floor, so to speak. And Tom went into riches when they switched places. He went into from rags to riches. I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. All right, that's really the point, man. I was just thinking, and I made mention of this in the week. I just wanted to be. I was curious. Was it based on a true story? I remember it very well. So, who's sitting on the high horse today? Let's read Job 30. You know where I'm going with this. And 1 says, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision. Yep, whose father I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock." They're in high places. They're on the horses. They're looking down on us. Right? Yasha Allah, the princes. Yeah. Yasha Allah. Yahi Allah Prince. Power. He Shah Prince Allah Power. Yasha Allah. They're looking down upon the princes. They're princes of the power. Right? The paupers sitting in high places, right? As we looked at it in Ecclesiastes 10. But now that they are younger than I have me in derision. This is Job speaking, a prophet and a wealthy man speaking. He made this observation, whose father I would have disdained to have sat with the dogs of my flock. Right? And it goes on. And the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age were perished. For went and famine they were solitary, fleeing unto the wilderness in former times, desolate and waste, who cut up mellows by the bushes and juniper roots of their meat. Talking about the poor people. Right now, these is how they people they used to that. This people now who's taken through the Renaissance era, around 1400s, maybe even earlier than that, 1300s, right? Came out and started to do, Renaissance, the iconoclasm, paint up the images and reverse everything, which is a heavy form of blasphemy, with their painter Leonardo da Vinci, right, at their disposal, using him, and Michelangelo, who also turned Yahushua into a pale skin leper, right, and defamed all the paintings and reversed everything, right. As it's going to go on to explain, who cut up mellows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. Yep, that's how they got. That's how they survived. Right, we pushed them up into the mountains up there in the cave. We pushed them away. We used to run them away, stone them. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Get out of town. Right. So-called black people, Jakes. We used to stone them out of the area, run them out of the area. They, so to speak, if you saw those movies, Cavemen and that, Captain Caveman and all of that, Stone Age's time, so-called, right? They're really talking about themselves. Who dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks, what they call it today, Mount Petra,
and Mount Seir. Right? Among the bushes they brayed, under their nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools. This is the point.
Children of fools are running this Rome monarchy, the monarch.
Right? I've got another precept I want to bring out that backs up this one. It's going to be in Job as well. They were children of fools, yeah, children of base men. They were viler than the earth, right?
That's why they're doing all the vile things. You're hearing about this, the Trump, what do they call it, the papers. What's going on now with Gillan and Maxwell, the papers, the emails and all kinds of things are coming out about. Is Trump involved in all of that? The scandals, right? Because base men are in high places doing base things. Couldn't put it any better than that. You got base men in high places as royalty doing base things, so-called socialists and royalty as well, and former all forms of high people. Let me just say it like that. But with low morals. High people in high places with low morals. Base men. Right? This is what's taking place. This is why all these scandals are coming out, because it's coming out now because it's a time for everything to be revealed. With the Maxwell scandals, the Jeffrey Epstein and all of that, all these Epsteins and Epstein files coming out. So let's hit another precept to back it up. Job chapters 9:24 says, the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked, right? The hand of the wicked, right? Going back into the iconoclasm, right? The all the things that they've done to cover up their wickedness, covering up the faces of the judges, as it goes on to say, he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right, with their iconoclasm, Bible destruction, painting destruction, Renaissance era, right, which means rebirth, the covering up and hiding the true men of the Lord. Ultimately, the ultimate blasphemy is Yehoshua, painting him as a white man. So there you have it, man. This is based. They say it wasn't based on a true story, but I beg to differ. I beg to differ when you look into a little bit of the moral of the story that they're putting out there, and this really did happen to Yashua Allah. So let's give you the other side now. 1 Peter 2, right? This is the royal people we're talking about here now, and get straight to it. 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him. Right now, the royal people, the true royalty, are in low places, right? Walking, assisting the servants upon the horses, in low land, in low Deuteronomy 28, with low morals. Really deep down inside, we know we're above them, but they've used all the bywords and their publicity, their television, to put a stain, to put stereotype, to further their agenda, to make us look like the bad guy, to make us look like the low people, the poor people, which that's a part of the prophecy anyway. And the Most High gave them the fatness of the earth. That's also in Genesis, right? That's part of the blessing, their blessing, Esau's blessing, the fatness of the earth, and the earth has been given unto the hands of the wicked. Job 9:24. That's part of for them to perpetrate this fraud, because that's all it is, a big fraud. And also, they're the fugitives of the earth. Genesis 4 makes a point that you can't really do. There's nothing you can do. Anything that they do, as far as doing all kind of wickedness, and being living like fugitives, we have to wait upon the Lord, because it also has a time ticking bomb, egg timer, waiting for them to be judged, and they know their time is running out. It's about that time, very shortly, getting to that time now, for them to be ultimately judged. They're getting picked off though. They're getting judged individually, in individual case by case, as we can see with the fentanyl and all the alcoholics that you see walking, shuffling around on the what do they call it, wandering around, not knowing whether they're coming up or going, the soup kitchens and all of that, right? The homelessness that he be facing. So the road treatment is being withdrawn now. Slowly but surely, the road red carpet is no longer being rolled out. Rolled out for these perpetrators of a fraud. The road carpet is being withdrawn from them. But it's starting to come out through Yahshua Allah. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, because the curses are coming off. And a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of the darkness unto his marvelous light. So this Tom dude, right, and Prince Edward, the movie, Prince Edward, right, the real royalty, had to go into some kind of survival mode and survive off the streets because it was a reversal and live as a fugitive. But now that represents us, that we're coming out of that. Literally, a lot of us had to do some horrible things for change. Horrible things for change, you know what I mean? Because they were stripped of Yahshua Allah, the princes, were stripped of our royal robes. Also, another movie that just come to mind is Thor, so-called God of Thunder, Thor, or superhero, but he was more of a god of thunder. He was stripped of his royal garbs and of the hammer. He who holds a hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power for. Similar with us, and I've done a video on that, based on the same principle. For royalty, God of Thunder was stripped of his garment and of his hammer, his power, and he was cast down to earth as a mere mortal. And similarly with us, we're cast down to earth because we were the true ancient men, the true giants, as it talks about that in Genesis 6. Men of fame. We were stripped of our royal garbs and of our connection with our power, Yahweh, for only temporarily, and made to live as a mere mortal temporarily. But we're getting things are changing nicely because the Most High is lifting off that curse. He withdrew his faith from us, but now he's slowly but surely turning his attention back to us. The place where it was said, you are not my servants, there it shall be said, you are the sons of the living God. I think that's Hosea. That's the house of David is coming back together again. Also in Zechariah 8 and 12 or 12 and 8. Right? The weakest among you shall be as gods, as the house of David. So the house of David is being brought back together again. We're being restored back, reunited. Peaches and Herb, that's a song. Reunited with our power. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. So the true royalties are being reunited again with our power. Right? Prince said, but don't worry about it. I'm talking to you, Yahshua Allah. Abu Razar. Right? Not long now. The royal people, the true royalty of the earth. And all the spews and all the controversy of these people now is being exposed. What's happening now with the Epstein files and all the rest of it. It's just their time. Let me bring out another one. There's another one in to further make the point. To back up what I just read. This is in Exodus, what I just read in 1 Peter 2. This is Exodus 19. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Another precept. One more precept, because this there's a precept to this particular one, and I'm going to end with that. Yeah,
above all the people of the face of the earth. If you would have kept his covenant, Most High wouldn't have withdrawn his power from us, his face from us. And he would not have stripped us of our royal garbs, our royal attire. We would have been in that position where we was in the time of Genesis 1 and 2, right? We had a big part in putting the earth together, right? The sun, the moon, and the stars, the universe. And on earth, the living creatures that came out of the waters, right? We were there, Yashua Allah, right? The powers, right? It's just another word for God. The powers were there, Yashua Allah, talking about the elect. If we would have kept our original position, but the prophecies had to be fulfilled anyway. Keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all the people. For all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. But it's coming round again, right? There's another song that just come to my mind. It shall be coming around again by Beverly Craven, right? It's coming around again. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Once again, it's coming around again. What we got to do, as I always say, is to the Yashua Allah, Prince of the Power, not long now, keep fighting. Abarat Azar. Right, so Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Right? It was only a temporary thing, and it went wrong in the movie. Back to the movie, the moral of the story. Tom accidentally switched places with Prince Edward, right? And it went horribly wrong. He actually got treated like he got treated. It didn't go wrong for him, which Tom represents the Edomites. It didn't go wrong for him. It went right for him. He started to live as a king, but it went wrong for Prince Edward, who had to live as a pauper. And all the things that Tom was doing, he had to reduce himself to doing, right, to survive, as what criminals do or fugitives do. And similarly with Yashua Allah, we went through hardship, slavery, hardcore slavery, the treatment of the post-slavery, and all the books, the without sanctuary, all the things that took place, right? The Jim Crow, the lynching, the alligator bait, because the Most High withdrew his face from us, and we had to live like this, pauper. But it's coming around now, and you can sense it even in the spirit, even in people's behavior. Right? Most High is about balance. People saying sorry for just for some stupid thing. People, I've been noticing it. People would just be saying sorry. But they ain't saying really why they're sorry. Oh, I did this. I'm sorry I knocked into you. But it's because of this truth is being pushed so heavily that it's what they call guilt, white guilt. And they're saying sorry, but it's in pride because they're not really saying what they're sorry for. They're sorry for every other thing but what they really should be sorry for. Right? I'll leave it at that. But the Most High we going to give them a reason to be sorry. When Yahushua comes back, Yashua Allah, to rescue Yashua Allah, his elect, he's going to give them the reason to be sorry. And some of them, they're going to be digging their heels in, trying to hide under the bunkers, their millionaire bunkers, and up there in their places in space, in their military, in their, under their space, what they call it? I know they've got all kinds of space bases, as well as underground bases, as well as underwater bases. Let me just say that, like that. So, are they really sorry if they're trying to hide and not face their judgment? Not really. But the Most High going to make them. We're going to teach them a lesson. We're going to show them how to be well and truly sorry. Right? After 1,000 years, right? That's Obadiah 18. They're going to be well and truly sorry. Right? After they have to serve their slavery, though. They ain't going to be able to say sorry and just get a slap on the wrist like a lot of them like to do. Sorry, get a slap on the wrist and get told to keep moving and get on with it. No. They're going to have to pay off their
crimes to society, their crimes to humanity, because they have a debt to pay off. Right? And there's scriptures to back that up. Once again, Obadiah 18.
Anyway, so that's the point. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all the people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn upon unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of the Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
Right? The modern day Pharaoh is Nero. Right? The kings of these days. Right? Understand? In so many words. In the Greek, Egypt is a place of bondage. We're back here again.
Until ultimately, once again, the grand finale, Yahushua return, when he starts to bring them and
put them in front of him and laser them up. Right? And they're going to have to face, after they've been lasered up by Yahushua, they're going to be in the front seat of Yahweh, giving their giving their sentences. Because Yahushua is the judge, jury, and the executioner. So they have to pay off their debt once again. So that's the point, man. Was it based on a true story? I believe it was. The Prince and the Pauper movie. Right? And then you got the modern day version. Joshua, Allah, Esau and Jacob. Enough said. That's the title of this video. Right? The modern day version of the Prince and the Pauper is Esau and Jacob. Shalom until the next one.